Good morning. Good morning. How are we this morning? How are we doing? Hope we're having an amazing time. Hope all is well with you. I'm good. I'm good and happening. I'm good. Can I see your greetings? Can I see your emojis? What's really going on? What's up? What's happening to you? As you all know, October is a month of love. We are talking love issues. I'm touching different areas. And what is so shocking, since we launched the School of Marriage, has been how when I when I post about a particular gender, for example, I posted about cheating men. And on the post, a lot of men gathered there to say it's very imbalanced post because am I seemingly attacking the men? Because the post was actually asking why men cheat. And there were a few proposals and few reasons of how someone can walk away from that temporal gratification. I also highlighted how that when you go that route to solve a permanent, because that's really a permanent decision that you get to make over a temporal matter. I alluded to the issues of how later on, as you grow older, because when you grow older, you won't be that active man that you were when you were 40, when you were 45. You are now 60, and your family is disgruntled. Your family is in a mess and you are lonely. Your children are grown, they are now in university, and you don't have a friend because you were so busy. Thank you so much. I see all of you. Wow, good to see you, Pastor Zion. Good to see you. I see you, all my mentees. Well done. Thank you for showing up. Thank you so much for showing up. I really do appreciate. Yes, so we were addressing the issues of cheating. So I'm going to highlight, different things we're talking about because today I've got to conclude really with everything that we were painting. So he's a man that is cheating, and there are reasons for cheating. Some of the reasons are my wife did not do this. My wife is boring. She doesn't know. She's irritating. She's nagging, and so the result was, for me to actually just, walk out and find somebody who respects me, somebody who looks at me with, who like adores me. So there are different reasons why, men were responding why they cheat. But at the end of the day, I still highlighted a paragraph there to say that yes, you can be very excited now as you are busy with other women, busy spending because you can't be cheating without really pouring into your finances. Then eventually now you are 60 or 65, you cannot continue with that same energy that you had. You are now, an old lonely man, because if your children even discovers, because children are able to pick that things are not well at home between you and your wife, regardless of how you can try to pretend, she will be mostly sad, and that sadness will spill over to the children. And so children are now finished school, what you were working hard for to pay their school fees, but you don't have any connection with them emotionally. You were not present. They fail to connect with you. They cannot have conversations with you. And now you are a lonely guy because you cannot relate with women the way you used to relate with them in your prime when you were a certain age. But also we have women who are busy. Some of them have become office wives, where they are cheating. There is increase, actually, there is increase of women, cheating now. And most of the times you ask them why they are cheating, it's issues of insecurity. Some of them, they have, gap crisis. their father was not present, or they watched their mother being abused, and so they manned up and they wore some masculinity to say a man will not do this to me. And so they go out there and they begin to cheat on their spouse. Again, you need to know, as you are approaching menopause, for some it starts by 45, you're already menopausal. You're not, as sexy as you used to be. Your body starts being, malfunctional because estrogen, progesterone, they just mess up, and you start developing a small little, belly, menopausal belly, and you are not the way you used to be, and eventually you have some wrinkles that start, coming on. You are now 60, lady, and you were cheating on your husband. So many things may have gone wrong. Some of you may even end up, going for a divorce because of infidelity. But again, in my research, remember, I have been in this. I speak as an authority because I have been doing actively. I've been helping people actively for about 37 years, like actively helping people. So I've done several researches to really, really come up with some solutions. So I speak with authority. But for those who know me well, I've testified also that the reason I stepped up into this space was because, being a pastor's kid myself, I was, sometimes listening to some of the conversations my parents used to have with victims and those that, are cheating and so on and so forth. So I've been listening to these stories almost 5 years less my age, if you know what I'm saying. And the reasons are the same, but also the distraction and the loneliness and the disgruntledness is still the same. And so you go out with this man as a married woman, you are divorced. Okay, you are divorced. And then what? The man most of the times continues with his family, continues with his wife, and there you are. You have lost a marriage just because of temporal gratification. That gap that you are feeling in your heart can never be filled by a human being. If your father was not present, you need to cry out to God to fill that gap, because there's no man who can love you the way you should love yourself. And many times when you begin to go out there to seek for love, it actually just means that you do not love yourself. You don't have that self-worth to actually bring in some discipline and some level of restraint so that you do not go outside your home. There is nothing. People can tell you lies that sex outside marriage is the best, that when you cheat on your spouse, that is when it is actually sweeter, or that is when it. How long does that sweetness take? How long do people get into climax? If you have Christ in you, there has to be a conscience. A conscience has to visit you that this that you're doing is wrong. And when your conscience visits you to say this what you're doing is wrong, who feels good afterwards? Really, most of the times, if that is, I'm talking to people who have a conscience, because some people have lost their conscience. I'm talking to those who have a conscience, those who want to live right, those who want to do what is right. This whole thing about cheating on each other, this whole thing about, being angry and hateful, disrespectful, how does it make you feel as the person has erred? For example, if your spouse errors and you go on to discredit him, you speak bad words, you say, unpalatable words. When water is passing through a pipe, the pipe does not remain dry. There is water that remains in the pipe. So as you are using those negative words and you are insulting, I want you to know that it will leave that bitter feeling inside of you. That is why when Paul is talking to the church in the book of Philippians, he says, whatever things that are good, whatever things that are pure, those are things that you need to be constantly meditating upon. In neuro-linguistic programming, you need to know that words come by about 4 billion beats per second. Yes, 4 billion beats per second. That is how you observed what you observed. It comes in 4 billion beats. Whatever you heard that somebody spoke, it came like that. Now, in order for it to make sense, it needs to be reduced to 2,000 bits from 4 billion. Just imagine the work that has to go through in your mind. So your mind is trained to work on that information by deleting some of it that is not familiar. That information that you are not concentrating on, that which you do not want, that information is deleted completely to actually reduce the 4 billion bits to 2000. Some of the information has to be distorted, okay, to change the meaning, to suit that which you are familiar with. Then some of the information is generalized, okay, so that you remain with only that which is important. And with your key focus filter and the reticular activation system, there is a way now that that information has to remain with 2000 and bring in a meaning that is relevant to you, or that which you've been concentrating on, that which is familiar. So this anger that you feel is not because of what the person has done. This hatefulness and you speaking, very bad words do not come out of what the person has done. That anger comes from what is inside of you. You begin to pull out the meaning, to associate the meaning of the things that have happened to what you have in your mind. And when you marry those two, you now begin to bring out what you are filled with. So if you are filled with so much hurt, with so much anger, and how you associate cheating as you were growing up to say, oh, men cheat, and you've been building up folders in your mind. That is how your reaction is, so destructive. You want to destroy yourself. You enter into what I call self-sabotage. How can you love somebody so much that you actually start going into self-destruction? That is what I've wondered. Why would you want to hurt yourself so much? Why would you want to go into depression? It is because already there are folders inside of you. There is information unconsciously that you have been storing in your mind. And as you've been storing that information with what you see, what you hear, what is going on, the future is female, all these men, you can't do this. You don't trust them. You build your own house because one day you need to separate. Even just how you enter in marriage, you already one leg out. By how you run your finances in the home, you are already your one leg out. It's like you're just waiting for a reason to exit. Some of the reactions are not because of what has happened. Some of the reactions are mostly about what is inside of you. That is why you've reacted in that way. And I would like to speak to you with all humility and knowing, not diminishing and undermining the pain that you are experiencing. It could be you, a man, because they've told you a man should not forgive. When a woman has done this, it means this. The reason why they say men don't forgive their wives when there is adultery, it's because of just what information has given to you. Because when it comes to the way God created you, you are made in the image of God. You are made in his likeness. And in that likeness, which is the creative power that God has given to you. And as you strive for holiness, as you ask him and have his image, so that you can react to things the way he would do. What would Jesus do in this matter? So there's nothing like, oh, a man cannot. There's nothing like that. It is just because we are so hard-hearted. Even when we say we love God, even when we say we've received him as our Lord and Savior, we leave certain compartments for self-pride, self-justification. Why I did this is because of this. Even sometimes your hurt and your pain, many times is as a result of your pride. You are so proud. How can he do this to me? Too much pride. There is no God in some of the reactions. There is no God. And I'm not saying do not get angry. I'm not saying do. All I'm saying is you need to learn that your reaction sometimes has been premeditated. And that is why you've got to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, but also begin to understand why you have entered in that marriage. Lack of understanding, lack of understanding of what marriage is from God's perspective has led to most of you behave a certain way because you lack understanding. What does the author mean? What did he mean when he said the two shall become one? That is why when it is not happening at home, you think it can happen anyhow. You think your nakedness can be taken because we lack understanding from the very word go. The one who's cheating and the one who's been cheated. We lack understanding. And so it is important for us to revisit our reactions, to revisit things that are going on, things that we are entertaining, the words that you're speaking. How many loaves of bread have you bought after you insulted? Your reaction, when you've reacted with that temperament and that emotional insanity that you express, how much money have you gained in your bank account? And please, I want you to know, I'm not underestimating your pain. But it's just that sometimes the way we react to these things is so ungodly in many ways. So ungodly for the person who goes out there to do what they've done, but also so ungodly for you who is now reacting to what the person who is now, you become a victim. We don't even know who the victim is. The one who goes out is like a victim. You who has been cheated, you also become a victim because your reaction, when we measure your reaction, you are as the one who has gone into adultery. Your behavior, the way you behave, you almost murder the person. Your mind has murdered. The way you talk, you have killed the person by your words. Remember, there is power in your words. Life and death lies on your tongue. What are you releasing out of your tongue? Oh, Dr. Ned, you don't understand the pain. Come on now. What is it that you really are doing to yourself? Why are you doing this to yourself? It is high time you began to navigate your way and begin to understand that no man owes you love. No man owes you happiness. How can somebody love you more than you even love yourself? Because by your behavior, it really, really shows that you've got less love for yourself. The way you are self sabotaging your mind, you are killing 10 years of your life. You are reducing the age. And by the time you are 70, by the time you are 80, you'll be a bitter old woman. Very bitter with arthritis, with all the diseases, because as you were getting into this anger, wanting to kill him, wanting to kill her, and doing all sorts of things, you are messing up with your heart. And as you mess up with your heart, you've got only you. When you start getting sick because somebody did not control their body and their activity, and you start getting sick, that same person, will they nurse you? Will they even nurse you? If they can cheat on you, will they be on your bedside? So stop it. Stop killing yourself. Stop self-sabotaging your life. And you know what is so strange in my research is that whatever is going on at home, most of you now begin to take it into the marketplace. Your career starts being disgruntled. Your children starts being destroyed. Your boss notices. Your subordinates notices. Everyone knows that somebody has cheated at home. You may not share, but your energies, your negative energies, they go out into the universe. And as they go out into the universe starts responding according to what you are giving it. Because from the time you heard what she did, what he did, when you're walking out the door, getting into the marketplace is not your grandfather's place where we've got to nurse emotions. Just because at home things are not okay, it does not mean all of us at work must suffer. We've got to meet the targets. After all, you are expecting your salary at the month end. So what is this that 2 days, 3 days, you are still somber? You are walking about angry. Everybody, you are splashing anger, and your desk is full of toxicity. Come on. You can't. That is why only way is God. God is the only one who can fulfill, who can feed you, who can take away that pain, who can show you how to forgive, who can help you how to navigate the way. That is why in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 9, the Bible says, and he called out dry land. He had to separate dry land from the waters before the dry land began to birth out grass, began to birth out vegetation, a fruit yielding tree, shrubs. The land, as long as the land was in the water, the land, could not bear fruit. As long as your mind remains in confusion, as long as your mind remains stuck in confusion, you can never bear fruit. I just want to ask, is it normal not to want to get married? No, it is not. As long as you have the desire and you are here on earth, unless if God created you that way, that you do not have to desire a man. But if you are a man, if you're a woman, I didn't read your name correctly. But if you have the desire to love, and then because of the things that you are hearing, because those are things that are already damaging you, you are listening too much into hating, things that are hateful in marriage, and you are thinking this is what marriage is. No, my friend, there's beautiful marriages out there. I have a beautiful marriage. So it is not everything that you are seeing. And it comes by you having an understanding that as you are walking in there, you are not walking into a perfect person. You yourself are not perfect. Marriage is about working out. You need to water that garden. You need to refresh. You need to connect. You need to work it out. That is why you go to school to learn, to become that accountant, to become that marketer, to become that banker, whatever it is that you're doing. You went to school and you keep on self-improving yourself. And the more you are working on that particular area of your expertise, the better you have become in that. And you keep on working your career, improving on your career. Who told you that there's somebody somewhere who has to come and work on your marriage? So it is two people that need to decide to start working on this marriage, to keep beautifying, to keep forgiving if certain things happen. You've got to move towards the goal, and the ultimate goal is to complement your purpose. It is that your purpose should be ultimate. Your purpose is primary. That is the reason why God created you here on earth. And marriage is an assignment, an institution that God had implemented, and He knows it is good. From God's agenda, marriage is good. From two people who are not perfect and they just choose to be together and start helping each other to grow together and move together, fulfill their purposes, marriage is beautiful. I want you to know all these things that you're listening to, they actually get into people's minds, and all what you are seeing on social media, what you are hearing, and it is like bad. Marriage is so bad. It's like people are just hurting it. No, my friend. No, I can't remember when we last argued, like an argument with my husband, like hot argument. We can differ in opinion, but I've just decided not to give the enemy an opportunity. I have also given myself permission to love me, permission to cultivate myself, permission to be an available spouse, permission. I've given myself permission to contribute. I wake up to think, what will my husband love today? And like, what will he do to me today? What can he do to me today? I've learned learned to cultivate. And when you enter my school, the School of Marriage, we help you to develop tools. We help you to have tools, and we give you tools that will work for you. And I want you to know the thing of sleeping, fornication, masturbation, and all those things, my friend, I want you to know, desire to be married and let God allow you to be found, or to find that, soulmate for your life. And know that when you enter there, you've got to learn. The same way you are improving on your career, you've got to learn how to live with the opposite sex, but also with another individual who grew up in a totally different background. Environment was totally different. But above all, he is also different from God's perspective. That is why by structure, he is different, she is different. So how can you live with an individual you hardly understand? I think for me, lack of education, lack of understanding, lack of tools on how to navigate is what is really leading to all this hurt. But finally, whether you have cheated, or you cheat, or someone cheated on you, whether you are single, widowed, divorced, ultimately, I want you to know this, and it's coming from a pure heart. I want you to know all these things are temporal. All these things that have itemized, they are temporal. Whether you are married, you are divorced, you are a side chick, you are single, you are divorced, you are widowed, all these things are temporal. And therefore, what really gives you that sense to wake up to life is understanding your purpose, living your purpose each day. When these other things are not happening, when you don't feel like loving, when he doesn't feel like loving you, or vice versa, when you are single, never think you will be happier when you get married. Never think you'll be happier when you divorce. I want you to know happiness is the way. Whatever is going on in your life at this particular moment, if your desire is to fulfill the reason you were born, I want you to know you are the only person that is intact. You are the only person that is constant. All these other things change. When you're married, you can be divorced or you can be widowed. When you are a side chick, you can actually be dumped. When you are fornicating, one day the relationship can end. Whatever state you are in, I want you to know what is constant is you and your purpose. So whilst these temporal things are happening in your life, learn to be happy along the way as you live that life. Do you know what? There is somebody single out there who is wishing to have 10% of what you have. 10% of that husband you have, 10% of that wife that you have. Somebody is desiring. There's somebody who's married who is desiring to be single the way you are. Somebody is desiring. There are certain times when you are in so much pain that you can actually admire a free cockroach. Just a cockroach passing, like it's better to even be like a cockroach, because a cockroach is free. But you know what? There are people who are sick in hospital. They cannot feed by themselves. They have been unconscious for months and months. They cannot walk by themselves. They have to be assisted to do toilet. You and I listening to me, you are okay. Stop focusing on things that are not adding value to your life. Stop focusing on things that are hateful. Focus on what will build you. Focus on your purpose. Join our School of Marriage. We are going to be delving deep in that enclosed room. Do get in touch with me or our administrators on the group. If you haven't joined our WhatsApp group, please do so, because now we are about to start engaging directly with those that have registered for the 10 months mentorship program. So please, I'm inviting you to be part of this mentorship program, the School of Marriage. Your life will never, never be the same in the school of marriage. Do have an amazing Thursday. Shalom, shalom.